My name is Joe Cleveland. I serve the congregation in Saratoga Springs, New York, as Andy knows.
Yes, I did.
And I'm also a member of the UU Musicians Network.
Yay. I'm the district liaison for the
Well, there you go.
UUMN.
I have no idea.
Yes.
I've clearly not kept up on my UUMN mailings.
What does that do? What does that organization do?
It does all kinds of things. One of the main things that they do that I am going to really not, unfortunately, abide by is figure out copyright laws.
Oh, well, we went through that in our church.
So I'm going to give you copies of things that are in no way legal.
Burn the mess.
It's for educational
So it's just for educational purposes. It's not for, yeah. Please share them as you like. And this is a workshop on hacking your way through the hymnal with a folk guitar. I think it has a much more politic. I think I gave it a much more politic title when I submitted it to the people who are planning this. So here, if you get nothing else out of this workshop, here's the one message I want to give you. When you're approaching any musical piece that you're trying to do for worship, for helping to lead other people, do as little as possible. Do as little as possible. Be as lazy as you possibly can. This is my message to you. Perhaps it's a stereotype about musicians, but it's true that you want to keep playing music for a long time because you like music, right? Music is a great thing. So you want to keep it going. So don't burn it all up right at the beginning. Do as little as possible. Do as little as possible. I will give you handouts in just a second, but let me tell you just a couple of other things. As I get this. There it is.
Do you mean perform as few pieces as possible?
No.
What do you
No,
mean by
I
that?
mean literally do as little work as possible.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, I'm for
Oh,
that.
we're good. We only know 3 chords.
See,
See, that's good. That's fine. That's absolutely good.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, boy.
And 1 strum.
So here's the thing. You don't have to play every chord.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to play every chord. Just stick with one you like. You don't have to play every single string that's in the chord. In fact, it might sound even cooler if you don't. Right? And maybe it'll sound cool if you don't even bother to fret all of the notes in that particular chord. Do as little as you possibly can. Really, seriously. Do as little as...
That means I don't have to look down to see if I'm doing it right anymore.
Okay, so the corollary of all of this is that will work if the rhythm is solid. That's the most important thing. When you're playing a hymn in a worship setting, this is music that you want other people to be able to join in on. play it like dance music. People should be able to dance to it. They should be able to move to it. Now, it might not be, you know, a contra dance or something like that. Maybe it is. It might be a waltz. It might be a march. But we should be able to move to it. There should be something to move to, because that's what's going to keep you together through the song. As long as you have one chord and rhythm, you're going to be okay for most of the songs in the hymnal.
That's encouraging.
Yeah. So I'll give you just a little bit of background too about why I'm giving a workshop like this and sort of how I came to do this, or how this became actually part of my ministry. When I went to seminary at the Andover Newton Theological School, just outside of Boston, the Unitarian Universalist community there has a worship service every week, in the middle of the week. And we had a pianist for a little while when I was there my first year, but there were some days she couldn't be with us. And then she was on to another job that she had to do, and so she couldn't be with us, and there was nobody else in the community who really was playing music, and so I said, okay, here, I'll step into it and pick what hymns you want. So these are ministers in training, so part of what you're trying to do as a UU minister is get to know the hymn book. I mean, that's part of what you're trying to get to know. So the hymns that they want to use during the worship service are most often in the hymn book. Those hymns were not written for this instrument.
Right.
They will not.
They were not written for this instrument.
No.
So what can you do? Can you so I just started, looking at them and trying to figure out, okay, I've got to figure out some way to play this. I've got to reimagine this. If this melody was a melody that I was trying to accompany with this instrument, what would it be like? So that's my starting point. And it's not going to sound like what it sounded like before. So my goal isn't to reproduce a keyboard sound on this instrument, because I am way not good enough to do that. I just can't do this. I mean, I've been playing guitar for, I really started seriously playing guitar with friends when I was in graduate school. And I had taken a few guitar lessons when I was an undergraduate, but hadn't played guitar in like 10 years, and then I picked it up in graduate school with friends. And so at this point, I know lots of chords and things, but I'm not Tony Rice. I'm not, Pat Metheny. I'm not even our blessed UU, Jim Scott, who's a great guitar player. I can't play like he plays, because he just has a facility with chords that I just don't have. So it's going to sound different, and let it be different. And so what I've discovered in this process was there were hymns that I kind of rediscovered. Like, oh my gosh, I never heard that hymn that way. What a neat song that I'd sort of gotten tired of in that version. You can play it very foursquare, and it's good for what it is, but you hear it with a different tone to it. One of my strategies is to put a different rhythm underneath it than what it's written for. And you're like, oh, there's something in that melody I hadn't heard before. And in my humble opinion, there are some songs in that hymn book, at least a couple, that sound better on this instrument than they do on keyboard. Like the closing hymn I played this morning. We Laugh, We Cry.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound as good, I think, on a keyboard as it does on guitar.
Right.
Because that hymn, you might not have recognized it, it's a fast waltz. and you need the rhythm. And that rhythm underneath that melody helps you make sense of what it sounds like. Because I don't know about you, but when I look at how that's written out in the hymn book, it doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Mm.
I mean, if I take the time and go sort of measure by measure and decode it, yes, it gets the rhythm out that it needs to get out. But when I just look at and trying to read it, and
I
I'm
think
not,
she wrote it on guitar.
you know, potentially, I have no idea.
Yeah,
This is,
I mean, she was at the Mountain in North Carolina, and they had a ministers' week that I went to, and she did the music on guitar.
oh, well, there you go. Yeah, so it was written on guitar. They tried to, the hymn book is for keyboard because that's what most congregations will have. But yeah, it should be a guitar tune. Let me tell you just a couple other things and then I'll actually get into playing music. This was a different kind of workshop. I'd started off with a song and then we'd talk and talk and talk and then we'd end with a song. But the music is the meat of this one, so we'll do it kind of in back reverse. A little chord theory is helpful. So I'm going to give you really, really basic chord theory, which you will know. Sarah is the music director at First UU in Syracuse.
Oh,
So,
okay.
you only need basically to know 3 chords. And the chords that you need to know, I'm going to refer to as the 1 chord, that's the home chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm in G, can you, yeah, there you go. So most songs you can get through, even if they've got more chords in them, you can get through with just the 1 chord, 1 to the 4 chord, which in G would be a C if you just go up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and the next note up in the scale would be the 5, D, back to 1. And just to, something that you can do is just to get that, what do those different chords feel like? Just play them. Just sit in front of the TV, turn the volume off, and watch, like when you watch the basketball tonight, turn off the sound, and just sit there. I'm going to play the 3 chords. Oh, I did a lazy thing there. Did you catch what I did?
Yes.
I did a lazy thing. So this is a G chord, or one of the ways of fingering a G chord. You can finger it like that too. I like it like this because it takes the third out of it, a little more fifths. So if I'm going to play it, there's a G chord, here's a C chord, a full C chord is like that.
G?
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to help you out here where you're at. You're using the same shapes that I'm using, but in different places.
Yeah, you can do it with a bass ukulele, but not with a regular one.
Yeah, so you're going to, yeah.
And that's my extent of knowledge.
So the bass ukulele is
Apparently the same tuning.
as the guitar. Oh, so this is the tenor or
Yeah,
Yes,
prime.
so it's tuned, like the strings have the right intervals so that you can use all the chord
Yeah.
shapes that I'm using.
Right.
It's just that you're going to be in a different key when you
Yeah,
do
we
that
know that.
than me.
I think, yeah.
So-
that's right.
So I did a lazy thing there just to sort of point out what I did. Here's the G chord, and instead of going for a C chord like this, here's the C. It's down here on my ring finger. And the third of it is right up above it here by my middle finger. So instead of playing this, I decided only to make the bottom half of the chord and just leave those alone, which ends up with a suspension in the chord, which just sounds cool. So just sit and play and just feel, what do they feel like? 5. 5 opens up in a different way. 4 is close to home, but not quite. It wants to go home really badly. There's home. And just play them so that you, what are those relationships? Five on its own wants to go, once you've got that one chord in your head, it wants to go back to the 1 when you're on the 5. So just play them over and over again, and if you want to get really fancy, start with a different chord as the 1. C chord would be, and then play the 4 and the 5 that go along with it. So if I'm playing a C, the 4 would be an F, which, look at me being lazy again, this is an F chord. But if I'm playing a C chord like this, sometimes I just play an F chord like that, and I don't fret a couple of the strings.
Huh. For us, this is a,
And then a G chord would be the 5. There's a lazy thing again. I made the 5 chord by just going up 1 step, by literally going up the 1 step that I need to do to get to the 5. Just gets a different sound than same chord as that. Same chord. I'm just being lazy because I'm not fretting all the right chords all enough. Makes you sound like you're doing something complicated. You're like playing a chord with like ninths and flatted fifths, or you just like jazz or something like, yeah, I'm doing jazz. Don't let on that you're just being lazy.
That's my job.
Yeah. Okay, so those are the basic trick is, again, find what key you're in, play that 1 chord, and make sure the rhythm is right. As long as you've got that, you can probably get through the song. So how do I take this to actual things? Here, let me give these out to you. Just take one of those and pass it along. It should be, there is another set of tricks that I use. And by the way, if there is a hymn that you like, that you would just like to hear, or just kind of throw at me, like, hey Joe, what would you do if you had to play this hymn? I'll, holler it out and I'll sit and figure it out. We've got hymn books here that Sarah, thank you so much for bringing those.
Thanks to the Methodist, I have a significant collection where I can pack up hymns.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, did you want this, Stanley? Because I'm just going to go through the chords.
Stan?
Did you
do
want
you
the
want to
guitar?
borrow Sarah's guitar?
Actually, it's Dennis's.
Oh,
He's fine with it.
I like to borrow.
You want to borrow? Here, we'll go for it.
Okay.
I need to figure things out up here first.
Yeah. So I'll just look at the first one that's in the at the front there, number 2, Down the Ages We Have Trod, which is a very keyboardy, organy hymn. Yeah. Down the ages we have trod many paths in search of God, seeking ever to define the eternal and divine. So the melody, I would pick out the melody. When I start to figure out a song. I try to make sure that I can find the melody. Now I did that really fast. It takes me a long time to actually figure those things out usually, but I know this one, so I know where it is. So I've got to have it enough so that it's in my head. So I have to have that melody in my head because I'm not paying attention to the actual notes that, see all those keyboard notes that are, I'm not even going to look at them. I can't read bass clef anyway, so I can't read half of it anyway. So I'm just going to ignore it. And plus I'm not playing a keyboard, I'm playing this instrument, so what does it sound like on this instrument? So what key is this song in? That's the thing, that's one of the things that's going to help me out. So this song is in the key of F. It's in the key of F. So here's my other trick. You got to have a capo.
Yep.
You got to have a capo because I am not playing in the key of F without a capo because that means that I have to play a chord like B flat, which is one of the chords I cannot stand.
It's hard on ukulele too.
I cannot stand. There's an F, and then I got to play a B flat because the B flat's the 4 chord. I need that one. Oh God, I hate that chord. I can barely play it. So no way. No. F. So the quickie move to get out of F is to go up to the 3rd fret and play it in D, because now I'm still in F. I can do a D up 3 frets is an F. I find often that it's easier just to play in C. So I was in D, now I just moved it up 2 frets, I can go down and play it in C.
I'm sorry, how does moving it up 2 frets go from D to C?
Okay, so I'm shortening the neck on the guitar. So I'm getting closer to the size of your instrument, so which is higher than this instrument. Right? So I can play a lower chord, name-wise, but really it's up higher because I've shortened the neck.
Right. I
So
guess I'm wondering if you're moving up, that means you should be getting higher, not lower, in my mind. I don't know.
Right, which is why. So if I didn't do that, I'd have to play in F. If I put this here, I've made it shorter. Now it's an E.
Why an E? You're going backwards.
Yeah, because I'm going up the neck with my capo. I go down with the notes to make it the same because I want to be the same.
That's the part that I
Yeah,
think is hard
because
for
what
me
he
to
does
get
is
that.
he fingers,
So
by
look at,
fingering the lower chord, it's going to sound higher.
so look at here's my F chord, right? I'm barring to make that chord.
Right.
So why don't I use this thing to actually make that bar there. Now I don't have to do what I was doing with my first. I can just play these other notes, which is an E chord.
So he plays an E, but the sound is higher.
I
don't think I'm gonna get
Okay,
it.
so what I'm playing an E chord. I raised it half a step by capoing here, which makes F. So if I raise it up a full step from F.
Full step from F would be G.
Right, so that's a G right there. So I can play, I was playing an E shape when I had it there, and I can play E shape.
Transpositions of instruments, it can really mess with your mind if you think about it too much.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to try not to.
It's the same reason the B flat clarinet will finger a C to play the same B flat that the flute sitting in the band next to them will play.
So think of it this way. This sheet of paper wants me to play an F. I'd rather play in C. But I want my C to sound like an F, so I have to raise it up.
C to sound like an F.
Yep. That's a different way to do this. You use the fingering, you know, on a smaller instrument.
So this sounds like a marching melody to me. Down the ages we have trod many paths in search of God, seeking ever to define the eternal and divine. Now obviously notes don't fit with that C chord as well as others. So you just find which chord it fits with. Now you've got my deduction of what it fits with. So I go from a C to a G. So think of this as the one chord. So if you actually are playing an F, you'd have your F is your one chord. Some of the things that sound cool here, like that little hammer-on, it's really laziness. I'm just letting the finger come off and then come back on. Down the ages we have trod many paths in search of God, seeking ever to be play this song is to put the marching beat to it.
So when I'm playing the C chord on this,
yeah,
it's not. I would not be singing it like you're singing it. It would be it's a completely different key.
Because if you're playing it in C.
Well, if I use the chords that are
on there, you've got to fret it up. You've got to capo up to the 5th fret here to make it go with
to make it sound like you're saying it.
To make it sound like it's. If I'm singing in F, but I'm playing this thing in C, in order to make this thing agree with my voice, I've got to shorten the neck by that much.
So should we be doing that on here?
Transposed.
I would say, why not? Take a chopstick and some rubber bands and go ahead and capo that thing so that you can play in keys that you otherwise don't want to learn the chords for.
Or can.
Or yeah, right. That B flat, like I am not playing the B flat chord. If there's any way I can get past playing the B flat.
Yeah, it's not easy on a uke either.
Yeah, there's no way. So here's another trick, and this really doesn't apply for the ukuleles. I'm sorry, but for the guitar players in the room, not only is a capo a necessary piece of equipment, but I will recommend to you something that may seem a little odd. But maybe you saw when I played "We Laugh, We Cry," I put 2 capos on the guitar. So I put a capo here at the bottom because I want that F note.
Oh, okay.
So it's holding the F note for me. But I have here a banjo capo. This is a banjo capo. So it's shorter than a regular capo because a banjo neck is not as wide as a regular neck. So when I put this on this guitar,
it doesn't get that on the first chord.
it doesn't.
You never lose the F.
The F is still down there.
It's like playing an open chord.
It's like, oh, doesn't that sound neat? I've got that low. It's so satisfying to have the bass note be the home key, the number 1 note to be
open.
down and like, and it can ring as much as you want it to. So when I play this hymn, this is what I do, and I just let that bang out. I don't have to be, as long as I keep that rhythm. Down the ages we have trod many paths in search of God, seeking let it go. Or if I was playing, you've got the chords in there to We Laugh, We Cry, which I played today. It's a few pages up. But I do the same thing there. So it lets that, and it happens that F is one of the most common keys in the hymn book. So I end up playing a lot of hymns like this, in this tuning, with the 1 capo down there and the 5-string capo up here. We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel that something is the which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom this will last some time or and most of all, we need is friends who count on but that down there just feels so good. And it doesn't matter if it's not in the chord for something. Like when I go to the F chord, instead of making the F chord like this, I kind of leave it and just make part of the F chord, and I leave that ringing the whole thing. And that note is not in the chord either, but nice suspension, so I just leave it. Lots of hymns that'll work with that particular configuration on the guitar. If you want to get really kind of wacky, this hymn, We Laugh, We Cry, probably has too many chords for this, but there is a capo that they sell. They usually call it an A capo. So this is even smaller than the piece of metal, the piece of rubber here. I call it an A capo because if you put it on, it plays an A chord. So it's the 2 bottom strings are open, it's fretting the middle, these middle 3, but it's skipping that one. So it plays an A chord. Now, if I was playing Down the Ages We Have Trod, which is a fairly simple song chord-wise, it's just got the 1, 4, 5 chords, I could do this. So I put a partial capo up here. So I can play my C chord is like this. But now this, instead of being fretted up here by the capo, it's down here. That's another F. It sounds kind of nice and full. Now, I'm using this partial capo, so if I let go of my index finger on that 2nd string, it's going to go down to something else, which happens to be still in that chord. So I can play. Here's another thing of being lazy. It takes 3 fingers to play a C chord. Oh no, it doesn't. It just takes 2. And to play a G chord takes 3 fingers to play a G chord. Oh no, it doesn't. Just maybe 2. Let's just do 2. And I'm going to let that ring just because it's the home. It sounds funky, and I'm going to pretend like I'm fancy. There's the F chord. Oh, I'm just going to use 2 fingers to play the F chord too. So I can just walk that shape up and down the neck. Bagpipe.
With a drone.
I've added drones.
Yeah. Appalachian sound,
It's sort of, yeah. It's not,
like a dulcimer.
yeah, and you go back to like roots of, you know, the most traditional, you know, like the simplest sound that you can make. I mean, these are people celebrating their lives. They're working real hard. They probably don't want to have to work as hard in the on their instrument as they do in the field because they're having a good time, right? So lots of drone instruments are you know, simple instruments. A lap dulcimer, you only fret one of the three strings, and that's it. So you just keep it simple. One thing that this capo will do, it allows you to play chords that you otherwise can't fret. Like, my fingers can't do this, you know, they're not nowhere near big enough. So I'm going to play chords that I can't get to. And it gives me access to a song like, towards the end of your packet here, there's the 23rd Psalm, in this beautiful arrangement by Bobby McFerrin. What key is this song in?
Yeah.
It's in F. So I'm going to fret my guitar like this. Or I'm going to put capos on it like this. So I've got a full capo on the first fret so that I have F there. And then I've capoed it up so that I don't have to play in E, I can play in D. So there's my home key now, my home chord, my number one chord is now a D. But since, notice I've got this funky partial capo on here, I don't have to fret all three of those strings anymore. I just have to fret one. They're all on that chord. If you're into Irish music, there's a tuning called dadgad that gets used a lot. So instead of standard tuning, D-A-D, G-A-D, this is a way of imitating that. This gives the strings the same relationship as a dadgad tuning, but I don't have to learn new chord shapes because I haven't retuned anything.
I never knew that.
So this lets me play this song, which The Lord is my shepherd, I have all I need. Doesn't that sound nice? I get that by laziness, because I'm not fretting things. Like, that's how I get that chord. I don't think I could fret that chord with my fingers.
Which capo are you using now?
So this is the A capo, but I've turned it around so it's missing. It's fretting the second, third, and fourth strings. I'm letting the first one is ringing. It goes down to my capo here, and the top two, fifth and sixth strings. The G, which is the 4 chord of D. Now, the next chord it wants me to play is something with a 6 and a 9 in it. How can I possibly do a chord with a 6 and a 9 in it? Well, it turns out, if I don't fret the whole chord, and I have this capo on it, there it is. There's a C, 6, 9. Play different sounds that I just wouldn't play before. So if you're a guitar player, buy a partial capo. It's called partial capo. It's usually called an A capo because, again, that's the chord it would make if I had it flipped around and was doing those strings. It would make an A chord. I flip it around this way and it makes this weird dadgadish thing. The Lord is my shepherd, I have all I need. Makes me lie down in green meadows, beside the still waters she will lead. She restores my soul, she rights my wrongs, she leads me in good things, she fills my heart with song. Which is I would not be able to play that if it wasn't for this
Do you
help.
do this with the whole congregation? This
So
particular piece?
if this particular piece, I would do as a solo.
Okay.
Because
It just-
the whole rhythm thing is out the window.
Right, I haven't ever done it with the congregation. We have
Yeah.
a choir version of it.
So, yeah,
That we've done.
yeah,
There's rhythm written out.
yeah.
Yes, this seems always rather nebulous to me and terrifying as a congregational song.
Yeah,
I love that.
Right.
but it's a great, I love that song, and then,
Right, right.
but now, I can play it now.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty easy, I only use like 2 or 3 fingers for the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, invest in partial capos. They make you sound like you're doing all kinds of things that you're just not doing. So, like Just As Long As I Have Breath is another song that's in F. So that same, put a capoing to get into F. There's, and again here, with this partial capo, I can just, okay. I could do it that way, couldn't I? Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Let's try a different rhythm under that. I'm going to put 6/8 under it, so a 3 feel. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I'm in my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. What's a whole different hymn now? Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. I put a little space in there because I like the chord. Why don't we just hang on to it? There's a nice dramatic moment there. Let's hold on to it. James last verse. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment leads me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love. Big finish. Tell them I said yes to truth. Tell them I said yes to life. It's a different hymn. All of a sudden, it's like my favorite hymn in the book.
Yeah.
Just add a different rhythm under it, and just the melody. I've actually simplified the melody. You've got a dotted quarter note and an eighth note. I just made them all quarter notes.
Yes, right.
Marcus does that with one more step. He puts it in 2. But I don't remember how he does it. I have the notes somewhere.
One more step.
Yep,
So,
piano. His piano. If you think accordion.
Yeah. Immortal Love, I put in here just again to illustrate partial capoing, and I've put in there Immortal Love is a tune that works well if you retune your guitar into a dad tuning. But I'm gonna cheat a little bit and use the capo, which makes the same relationships in the notes.
Same chords for it?
You only need the one.
Oh, good. Okay, got it. D.
In fact, I only need one note for this whole song. Immortal love, forever flowing free, forever share, forever hold, one never-ending sea. It's all in D. I can get fancy if I want to and put another chord in there, but you don't need it. It's just, I'm playing it in E. It's in D in here.
Thank you.
Just to make this easier. What was that?
I
Oh,
said
yeah.
it was flute fingering, so I'm like, wait.
Oh, no, that's
this is
not it.
working.
It's not right. No, it's in E. I'm playing it in E. I'm sorry. And it almost doesn't matter what chord you put in. So I've got it. There's a D chord, which I'm playing lazily with one finger because I've got the capo on there that lets me do that. The 4 chord is G, which I can also be lazy about. I'll just play the bottom of. And the 5 chord is A, which, oh yeah, that's nice. In fact, I'm going to play even fewer, I'm going to fret fewer strings than that, just fret 2. So 1, 4, 5. Isn't that nice? This sounds nice and full.
So your ring capo is getting the top 4 strings?
So this capo is fretting not this string, but this string.
Right.
Those 3, and then the 2 are.
Yeah. And it's catching your G string, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So which is
So your bottom 2 are going to be open.
well,
I mean, your E and B.
the E and B are open.
Yeah.
So and the low E
But
is
everything
open,
else is big.
and then the
Everything else
other
is
3
big.
are capo. Yeah.
Except the top string. The top string's also open.
I'm just putting different chords in there whenever I want them, and if I don't do the same chords the next time, it's fine because this melody is so forgiving. You put whatever
It doesn't move that much.
whatever thing to it. It's just D, this particular melody, which you'll find Immortal Love is with this melody in the hymn book, so there's one more hymn that has this melody to it too. So you've got 2. And so that when I went up here, that's a B minor chord, but instead of playing all the notes, I'm just playing some of the notes. So just play around, get a partial capo and just play around with it, and play around with not fretting all the notes in the chord.
So you don't ever play with the keyboardist too, right? You don't
Sometimes I do.
And keyboard. Do you have problems with simplifying too much that it doesn't work with the piano parts?
Yeah, sometimes it won't work.
Okay.
But that just as long as I have breath
Yeah.
works just fine.
Okay.
Just tell the keyboard player, don't
Yeah.
play the dotted quarter eighth.
Yeah.
Just play all quarter
Yeah.
notes, and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
So and that particular one, just as long as I have breath, my chords actually go with the voicings
Yeah.
that are in the
Yeah.
keyboard. Sometimes it doesn't
There was
work.
one, I was like, work.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't, you can't play it together. So, again, the situation I was in is I'm the music. This is it.
Right.
This is it. So, as long as, you know, I'm playing with myself, the tune with myself, I'm okay. Another, I put Dear Weaver of my heart, of Our Lives design in there again for a rhythm question. Dear Weaver of my design, this is going to be in the right key. All obey with skillful fingers, gently guide the sturdy threads that will survive the tangle of our days. That's how it goes. Except I'm singing in the wrong key. The weaver of our lives design his patterns all obey. With skillful fingers, gently guide the sturdy threads that will survive the tangle of our days. Again, the 6/8 rhythm. Of our lives with hands that gently hold, fill in the ragged edge that care would sunder and that pain would tear and mend our raveling soul. So you put a different rhythm to a melody, it just opens it up, I think. Yet eyes that in the plainest cloth a hidden beauty see, discerning us our richest gifts, show us the patterns we may use to set our spirits free.
This might be a silly question, but you guys know about the hymn tunes? So the.
Oh, yeah, there's
Yeah, the bottom right of every hymn, those capital letter tune is the melody.
That's the
and-
name of that particular melody.
Oh, and you can go from one hymnal to another, but like this one, there are 3 different hymnals,
That
3
has
different
the
hymns in
same-
our hymnal,
I
so.
never realized that.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh. The hymn, yeah,
So you just
we
learned
have
3
different hymns, we have more hymns in the hymn book than melodies.
Right.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I know that.
and so they named the melodies, so you could, in fact, if you want, like what I'm doing this Sunday, is I'll be singing the words to number 7, the leaf unfurling in the April air, to the melody of 103, which is the melody it was originally written to, those particular words.
Oh,
Yeah, it's in the hymnal, they'll list all.
So then the way I did that is by using the numbers at the bottom. That tells you the rhythm of the melody, of the words.
Syllables.
So for that, it's the leaf unfurling in the April air. Da, da. It's the melody for all the saints.
it's a good way to crush it.
But
Yes.
and the melody, yeah, the melody for number 7, I have never been able to wrap my brain around. It's something that I wanted to sing. So. Let's see, what else should I let you know? I should at least go through Spirit of Life, because at some point you will have to play that. Which is in C. Okay, so knowing things like how to walk from one chord to another is helpful here. And this is another place where the key, I think, to making the sound right is not to worry about playing every string. Don't hit every string. Just hit some of them. If you can hit the string that's the main note in that chord, that's probably the best one to hit. But even if you miss it, fine, it's going to be fine. Spirit of life, come to me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. That I was doing in that was when I went to the F chord, I didn't play the bar because, I mean, it's more practice playing bar chords, because if you can do them, then all of a sudden all kinds of things become accessible to you that otherwise just aren't. But sometimes it just sounds nice to Spirit of Life. That suspension there actually, I think, leads me into the next thing. Or I might, one of the other things I was doing was, instead of playing the G chord like this, I took the F chord and actually walked it up. Just different voicing. But again, it's kind of a lazy thing because I'm not playing the whole chord. So that's Spirit of Life. And again, the key is just to keep the rhythm. And allow yourself, even if you're leading a group in singing, to allow yourself to be quiet. So that one of the things that, especially if you're leading a large group, if you're playing in a large space, one of your main friends is going to be your sound person. Make it so that they can hear me. That's your job, to get my sound out there. My job is to play this with as little effort as possible, because I'm a lazy musician. And if I play too hard, I'm going to mess it up. When I play too hard, I mess it up. It's a lesson. I'm still learning this lesson. Like, I don't know if you heard, I screwed up placing the choir this morning, and the reason I screwed it up was I was trying to play too loud. I was trying to play too loud, so I was playing so hard. I should just... It's going to sound a lot better if I'm relaxed about it.
He will be you. Those things.
Did he really? Again, I'm not playing whole chords here. I'm not hitting every note. I'm not hitting every string. So that laziness is actually, it gives it the flavor. It gives it some depth. It gives it something that's interesting. And to play it easy. Play it easy. He plays upside down and backwards because he's left-handed. But I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've only got not even 10 minutes left, and I wanted to at least mention a couple of things. I gave you there's 3 songs from or 4, I guess, including the 23rd song, but there's a few from the Teal hymnal. The main issue with the Teal hymnal is that it puts in, for most of the songs, for lots of the songs in there, it puts in too many chords.
Yeah.
I can't play all those. It puts in a chord for every note. And some of the notes aren't even if you're in 4, if you're in quarter note bass, it'll put a chord for just the the 8th note.
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
I
Right.
am not doing that.
I thought it was just me.
No.
No.
Are you crazy? I can't play that way. I just can't play that way. So everything possible is in there, but it's got all these chords in it. So I've written it out here the way that I do it.
What song is this?
This is Everything Possible. I've forgotten which number this is in the hymn book.
10:15. Anyone else? Parents? Oh.
see, I'm in 3 so much. I love 3. Like, it's one of the congregations I served, a member of the choir just would tease me because you put everything in 3, Joe. You just love 3. So I've just made everything possible into a waltz, which is not the rhythm of that. It's
That's an extra verse.
table, leftovers saved, watch the dishes and put them away. How many chords does it have in that
It's not
thing?
too bad, but it's got,
It's got-
2, 3, 4,
it's
5,
got
6,
more
7, 8,
than-
and 10.
Yeah, and I've played.
Just him?
And
I've
three
played
measures.
3.
Three
I've played,
measures.
Yep.
yeah, and I've played 3. So this is why I'm giving you my version of it there. So it's much. At the end of your knockabout day, as the moon sets its sails to carry you to sleep over midnight sea. This is a nice waltz. I sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company. You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one. And the only measure of your words and your deeds be the love you leave behind when you're done. So there's way too many chords in that version.
Right there.
Yeah.
Look behind when you're done.
Okay,
I don't know if anybody could actually physically move their fingers
No,
that much.
well, this is such an organ-written part anyway.
Yeah.
It really,
Well, and most congregations, they've got a keyboardist that's going to have to do the tunes, and it's going to sound fine that way. But if you're a hack guitarist like me,
it sounds.
yeah, well, and the way Fred plays it, if you listen to Fred's recording, and that's how I got to this, is by listening to Fred play it. He plays it in D, he tunes the E string down to a D, so he's in drop D tuning. So he's basically using these chords that I've got written out here. He's not using all of those chords.
Right.
That's not the way he played it. So, just to finish off, what the heck do you do when you want to play one of those hymns, like Standing on the Side of Love? I love this hymn, and there's the very first hymn in this book, Morning Has Come Arise. It's a great hymn. Oh my gosh, beautiful. Try and play it on guitar. Whoa!
Jason's hands are luckier than mine, is
Yeah.
what I've been told.
Yeah,
10:14.
10:14, this is, I guess I'll end with this. So, and I don't know a way to play this hymn that doesn't use bar chords, that doesn't have some funky stuff in it, but I can't play every single one of those. Look at that, the second line there, it's got a different chord for every eighth note.
Right.
Yeah.
And then lands on like 3 more. So, what is going on? So my anchor is, what key is it in? It's in E, okay. Okay, so if I know I need to go there, so my next most important chords are going to be the 4 chord and the 5 chord. So the 4 chord in E is A, which means that the 5 chord is B. That lousy bar chord. Rats. Now this has some funky other things in it. It's got a C sharp minor chord, which is important to it. So I've got to play that. It's got a B minor chord in it. That's important. It's got an F sharp minor. It's got an F sharp major. It's got an A major 7. which is important to it. So I wish I had like an easy way to play it. I don't. I have a way that I play it. And the way that I play it is just, I hear, okay, which of these chords are actually important? Do I need to put in there? And which chords can I skip? And some of them I can get by just playing one note on one string. So here's how I play this hymn. It isn't quite the way it's written. The B minor goes to the E, okay. The promise of Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide, coats every soul, is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are standing on the side of love, hands joined together, as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim, we are standing on the side of love. So I'm really latched onto the 4-5-1 progression. We are 4 on the 5 of 1. And actually, that's the relative minor of the 4, but whatever. Close enough. Standing on the side of love. Gosh, I should just play it like that.
Do you think?
We are standing on the side of love. Oh, that sounds nice. Side of love. Sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound. Corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear the fire of beauty we found. We are standing on the side of love, hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim, we are standing on the side of love. A bright new day is dawning, when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision divine. We are standing on the side of love, hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim, we are standing on the side of love. We are standing on the side of love. So, I play as many as I can, but I just do the ones that I think are important, that I can't possibly get rid of. And that's okay, because it still sounded like the hymn.
Yeah, sure did.
But I didn't play lots of those chords. And some of them sound funkier than they actually are. That A chord with a B in the bass. So an A chord with a B in the bass, just add. I just put this finger down there, and that gets that funky chord. The other chords are pretty basic shapes. So B minor shape, C sharp, F minor. It's those shapes. If you've got those shapes down, then you can get all kinds of other stuff. And this is where it is, like if you can do bar chords. Because if I learned an A minor chord, that means I've not just learned an A minor chord, I've learned a B minor chord, which is the same chord, I've just put the bar there. I've learned a C minor chord, a C sharp minor chord. So this is a G, there's a G minor. And also an F sharp minor, and an F minor, and an E minor. So that's, if you can get the bar going, you all of a sudden know a zillion chords because you just move them around. B flat minor, B minor, C minor, C sharp minor. Just this lets you do that. So if you can learn your bar chords, go ahead. But basic thing again, do as little as possible. Don't work too hard. Don't play too hard because you're going to get in your own way. And boil it down to something simple, and don't be afraid of putting a different rhythm to it. If you feel a different rhythm to it, you know, that nice marching kind of rhythm. It's easy to play on a piano, but it doesn't work as well on a guitar. So, but 3 works kind of nice on a guitar. And it doesn't sound like you've made it into a country ballad, you know. But you could if you wanted to. Spirit of life, singing my heart, all the stirs of compassion. So, yeah, no, not so much, maybe.
I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, but play with the rhythm.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be
Right.
that way.
Yeah.
As long as you know what the melody is,
Right.
and you can sing the melody, sing the melody without anything around you, away from the instrument, away from the ukulele, whatever it is, and then accompany the melody with with whatever sounds right to it. And if you know the 1-4-5 chords, you can find some accompaniment to it. That's going to sound okay. So, Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the spirits of compassion. Play around with them. There's so much good music in that hymnal. It is so full of amazing music. And I think that it's just waiting for us just to sort of recast it and reframe it. And there's so much to discover in there that we've barely begun to plumb the surface of that hymn. Even, as much as we need a new hymn book, we've barely scratched the surface of this one. We've barely scratched the surface of this one. So play around with it, make it sound like they never thought it could sound. Thank you for coming to my little workshop here.
Thank you, Jeff.
I hope that was helpful. I hope that was interesting.
Thank you for doing this work.
Yes.
Oh, sure. And there's somebody, I just heard about this like 3 weeks ago. Come on in. I just heard about this like 3 weeks ago, that somebody has actually compiled a file or an online site that has done some of this, put chords to some of the hymns.
If you give me your email address, I can get you the Google Doc.
Yeah, it's a Google Doc.
Yeah, that would
that
be
has it.
awesome.
So write your email down here if you want the Google Doc of guitar chords. If you want to get the ukulele-friendly information, put that down too. Put your name and which list you want, guitar or ukulele.
Yeah.
I can get you both.
That's great. And again, I just encourage you to go ahead and imagine what it sounds like for you. As long as you've got the melody in your head, just accompany yourself.